Deep in the void of space, aboard the alien monitoring station, Outpost 7, three red lights began flashing on the main control panel. The chief observer, known as First Monitor, pressed his four-fingered hand against the display screen, his large eyes widening at the data streaming before him. "Impossible," he whispered, his thin frame trembling as he analyzed the energy readings coming from the third planet of a seemingly unremarkable solar system. The patterns were unmistakable: atomic fission, followed by fusion, and now something even more remarkable. The humans called their planet Earth, and they were doing something that should have been beyond their capabilities. First Monitor watched as another burst of energy lit up his sensors. In a small laboratory in the American Midwest, Dr. Thomas Miller was about to change everything. Miller stood in his underground lab, unaware that his work had caught the attention of the galaxy's most advanced civilization. His hair was messy, and his white lab coat had coffee stains from 3 days of non-stop work. The quantum particle accelerator hummed quietly in the background, its blue glow reflecting off the metallic walls. "Recording test number 47. Miller spoke into his recorder. "Power levels stable at 97%. Beginning particle injection in 3, 2, 1. He pressed the button, and for a brief moment, a tiny piece of space-time bent ever so slightly. In space, First Monitor's instruments went crazy. "By the Ancient Ones," he gasped, calling up his superior. "High Observer, you need to see this immediately. The primitive species, they're attempting to bend space-time." The High Observer's hologram appeared in the monitoring room, his usually calm demeanor shaken by the urgency in First Monitor's voice. "Show me everything," he commanded. The data scrolled across multiple screens. It wasn't just Miller's experiment. All across the planet, humans were pushing the boundaries of science. In Japan, they were developing quantum computers that rivaled alien technology. In Europe, a team had just made a breakthrough in antimatter containment. In Africa, scientists were perfecting fusion reactors that were more efficient than anything the aliens had seen from a young civilization. How long have they had industrial technology? The High Observer asked, his voice barely hiding his concern. "Less than 300 planetary rotations," First Monitor replied. "Impossible. No species advances that quickly. Check your data." "The data is correct, High Observer. And there's more." First Monitor pulled up images of human cities, their transportation systems, their weapons. They achieved powered flight, space travel, and atomic power in less than 100 rotations. They've sent primitive probes beyond their solar system. And he hesitated before showing the last piece of data. "Show me," the High Observer demanded. The screen displayed military installations, missile silos, and defense systems. But what truly alarmed them was not the weapons themselves. It was their placement. Humanity had built their defenses in a pattern that suggested they were preparing for threats from space. "They're expecting us," the High Observer realized. Somehow, they know they're not alone. In his lab, Miller finally achieved success. The particle accelerator created a stable micro-wormhole for exactly 3.4 seconds. He celebrated by opening a candy bar, completely unaware that his achievement had just caused an emergency meeting of the Council of Species 16,000 light-years away. First Monitor prepared his initial report, his hands shaking as he typed. "Species, human, planet, Earth, local designation, technology level, advancing at unprecedented rate, threat assessment, requires immediate evaluation. Notable observation: species appears to be preparing for interstellar contact despite no official first contact. Recommendation: immediate dispatch of assessment team and classification as potential major threat." As the report was transmitted to the council, Miller walked out of his lab into the early morning sunlight. He looked up at the stars, wondering if humanity would ever make contact with alien life. Above him, cloaked in technology they thought was undetectable, 3 alien observation ships began their approach to Earth. The classification of humanity as a god-level threat had begun. The 3 alien ships entered Earth's orbit with perfect silence, their cloaking systems making them invisible to human technology. Or so they thought. Deep within No-Raid's mountain complex, a young radar technician named Paul Reed stared at his screen with a puzzled look. "Sir," he called to his supervisor, "I'm picking up some weird shadows on the new quantum radar system." His supervisor, Colonel Baker, walked over slowly, coffee cup in hand. "Probably another satellite glitch. We've been having those since we installed the new system." "No, sir. These are different. They're moving against the orbital patterns." In space, aboard the lead scout ship, Assessment Leader Dale, his name Simplify for human records, reviewed the first contact protocols. His species had contacted 15 different civilizations over 10,000 years. They had procedures for everything. "Begin standard observation pattern," Dale ordered his crew. "Remember, these humans must not detect our presence." His second-in-command, Observer Mark, looked up from his monitoring station. "Sir, there's something unusual in their global communication networks. They're sharing information about theoretical alien contact scenarios." "Show me," Dale commanded. The main screen filled with images from human entertainment, movies about alien invasions, books about first contact, scientific papers discussing potential alien biology. But what caught Dale's attention were the military documents. Thousands of them, from different nations, all discussing protocols for extraterrestrial contact. They're not just imagining contact, Dale realized. They're preparing for it, all of them. Every major nation has detailed response plans. On Earth, at a secret military facility, General Harris reviewed the latest reports from the Quantum Radar Network. 3 anomalies in orbit, moving with obvious intelligence, just as they had predicted. "Send the coded message to all member nations," he ordered. "Protocol Stargazer is now active." Around the world, hidden facilities began powering up. In underground bunkers, soldiers and scientists who had trained for years for this moment took their positions. But no one launched missiles. No one panicked. They simply watched and waited. Back in space, Dale's crew made an alarming discovery. "Sir," Mark called out, his voice shaking. "Their technology. It's advancing while we watch. Their quantum computing capabilities have improved 3% just in the last 6 hours. Their energy systems are becoming more efficient by the day." Dale moved to the observation window, looking down at the blue planet below. In all his years of first contact missions, he had never seen anything like this. Other species took centuries, sometimes millennia, to advance through technological stages. Humans were doing it in years, sometimes months. "Look at this," Mark continued, pulling up more data. "They've already theorized most of our basic technology. They haven't built it yet, but they're scientists. Their scientists have already worked out the principles." In his lab, Dr. Miller was working late again. But now he wasn't alone. Teams of scientists from around the world had joined his research. On his computer screen, a simulation showed a stable wormhole lasting for 10 seconds. "The power requirements are still too high," one scientist said. "Maybe," Miller replied, "but we're getting closer." And with the new quantum computers coming online next month. In orbit, Dale made his decision. He opened a secure channel to the Council of Species. "High Council, preliminary assessment complete. The humans, they're different. They don't just adapt technology, they improve it. They don't just prepare for one possible future, they prepare for all of them. And most concerning of all," he paused, looking at the latest data. "Most concerning of all, they seem to be waiting for us." The Council's response was immediate. "Continue observation. Do not, under any circumstances, initiate contact. New classification status. Potential God-level threat." As Dale acknowledged the order, a small light blinked on his control panel. Someone on Earth was scanning his ship with a type of radar that shouldn't have existed yet. The humans weren't just ready for contact. They were ahead of schedule. The Great Council Chamber was rarely full. Today, all 500 seats were occupied. Representatives from every major spacefaring civilization had gathered for one purpose: to discuss the human problem. High Counselor Ben stood at the central platform, his normally blue skin pale with concern. Behind him, massive screens showed images of Earth and its inhabitants. In all our history, he began, we have never encountered a species like this. They are not the most advanced we have found. They are not the strongest. But they are, without doubt, the most dangerous. The chamber erupted in worried whispers. On the main screen, a video played showing human military exercises. Soldiers trained for every possible scenario, including attacks by unknown weapons. Look at their response to failure, Ben continued. When their machines break, they make them stronger. When their plans fail, they make backup plans. They call it learning from mistakes, but they do it faster than any species we have ever seen. In the front row, military advisor Jack raised his hand. High Counselor, surely you're overreacting. They haven't even achieved reliable space travel yet. Ben pressed a button, and new images appeared. They showed Dr. Miller's lab, where something unexpected was happening. Miller stood before a group of military officials, pointing at his latest test results. The wormhole stayed stable for 15 seconds, he explained, and we found something interesting in the data, something that suggests we're not the first ones to try this. The council chamber grew silent. They found traces of our own experiments, Ben said quietly. In less than a year, they not only matched our early tests, but found evidence of our presence in the fabric of space-time itself. Another council member, Science Director Ron, stepped forward. There's more, he said. Show them the defense plans. The screens changed to display military documents. They showed detailed strategies for defending Earth against technologies that humans hadn't even encountered yet. Somehow, they had guessed, correctly, how advanced civilizations might attack. Their military leader, General Harris, has prepared responses to weapons we haven't invented yet, Ron explained. Some of his theories are more advanced than our actual methods. In his office at the Pentagon, General Harris was looking at the latest satellite data. The alien ships were still there, still watching. He smiled slightly and pressed a button on his desk. Begin Phase 2, he ordered. Across Earth, hidden facilities began broadcasting signals that exactly matched the frequencies used by the alien observation ships. They had reverse-engineered the alien communication system just by detecting and analyzing its traces. Back in the council chamber, alarms began blaring. They're probing our ships, someone shouted. They're trying to communicate, using our own protocols. Ben raised his hands for silence. Now you see why we called this meeting. The humans aren't just advancing. They're advancing in exactly the right ways to challenge us. They design counters to threats they haven't met. They solve problems they shouldn't know exist. What are you suggesting? Jack asked, his voice shaking. I am suggesting, Ben replied, that we classify them as a God-level threat, not because of what they are now, but because of what they will become. At their current rate of advancement, he didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Everyone in the chamber had seen the projections. In 100 years, humans would match their technology. In 200, they would surpass it. The vote will now begin, Ben announced. We must decide. Do we classify humanity as a God-level threat? As the council members cast their votes, Dr. Miller made another breakthrough. His team had just discovered how to detect the alien ship's cloaking technology. On his computer screen, 3 distinct shapes appeared in Earth's orbit. The humans were no longer just preparing for contact. They were ready for it. The council's emergency session continued into its second day. On the main screen, first researcher Tom presented his most disturbing findings yet. Look at their entertainment, he said, gesturing to a wall of video clips. Thousands of stories about alien contact. But that's not what's interesting. What's interesting is how accurate they are. The council members watched as scenes played out on the screen. Humans fighting alien invasions, making peace with alien species, solving communication problems with extraterrestrial life. Many of these imagined scenarios were surprisingly close to real protocols used by the council. Somehow, Tom continued, they guessed correctly about things they shouldn't even know to guess about. In a university library on Earth, Professor Mary Lewis was working late, surrounded by science fiction books from the past 100 years. On her computer, she compared these stories to the latest scientific discoveries. The pattern was clear. Human imagination had predicted real scientific advances with stunning accuracy. It's like we've been preparing for this our whole lives, she whispered to herself. Back in the council chamber, military analyst Bill took the floor. The humans have another unique trait, he reported. They're the only known species to develop space travel before achieving world peace. That's impossible, one council member shouted. No species can advance technologically while still fighting among themselves. The humans did, Bill replied. In fact, their conflicts drove their advancement. Every weapon they created led to peaceful technologies. Every peaceful technology was studied for its military potential. They don't just develop technology. They develop every possible use for it. On Earth, in a classified military facility, General Harris watched a test of their latest defense system. The system was designed to detect and counter any form of advanced propulsion, even types they hadn't encountered yet. Sir, a young lieutenant reported, the quantum sensors are picking up unusual activity from the alien ships. They appear to be worried. Harris nodded. Good. Move to Phase 3. Across the globe, hidden quantum transmitters powered up. They began broadcasting a simple message into space, using frequencies that matched the alien ship's communications. The message contained just one line. We know you're watching. In the council chamber, the message appeared on every screen. The room erupted in panic. They're not just aware of us, Tom said, his voice cutting through the chaos. They're showing us they're aware. This is a demonstration. A demonstration of what? Asked High Counselor Ben. A demonstration that they've been preparing for us their entire existence, Tom replied. Every story they've told, every movie they've made, every scientific advance they've achieved. It's all been preparation for this moment. The screens changed again, showing Dr. Miller's latest experiment. His team had successfully created a stable wormhole large enough to send data through. But what shocked the council wasn't the achievement, it was how they did it. They're not following the normal development path, Tom explained. They're not making the mistakes we made. It's as if they already know what doesn't work. In her library, Professor Lewis made a startling connection. She quickly typed an email to General Harris. The science fiction wasn't predicting the future, it was preparing us for it. The council watched in growing alarm as more data poured in. Humans were developing quantum shielding that could block alien scanners. They were creating translation matrices that could decode any language, even ones they hadn't heard. They were building defenses against weapons they had never seen. We have a saying, Tom told the council. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Humans don't just hope. They don't just prepare. They do both, simultaneously, constantly, and with frightening efficiency. As if to prove his point, at that exact moment, every alien observation ship received the same message, now in their own language. Welcome to Earth. We've been expecting you. The council chamber's mood had changed from panic to a deep, heavy silence. On the main screen, Assessment Leader Dale's report continued, each word making the situation more serious. We have confirmed that humans possess 3 unique traits never before seen together in any species, Dale explained. First, they adapt to survive anywhere. Second, they turn every tool into both a weapon and a solution. Third, and most importantly, they share knowledge at an unprecedented rate. High Counselor Ben leaned forward. Explain the third point. Dale pulled up new images on the screen. They showed the internet, social media, and scientific journals. When one human makes a discovery, within days, thousands of others are improving it. Within weeks, millions know about it. Within months, it becomes the foundation for newer discoveries. On Earth, this exact process was happening in Dr. Miller's laboratory. Scientists from 30 countries were connected through video calls, all working together on the wormhole project. The energy signature is stable, Miller announced, looking at his readings, and we found something in the data stream. It looks like some kind of artificial signal. In Russia, a scientist named Dr. Ivan spoke up through the video link. We're seeing the same pattern in our quantum experiments. It's as if someone is using similar technology nearby. Or above us, Miller said quietly. Back in the council chamber, military advisor Jack presented the formal threat assessment criteria. For a species to be classified as God level, he began, they must meet 5 specific conditions. 1. Rapid technological advancement. 2. Exceptional adaptation abilities. 3. United response to threats. 4. Innovation in unexpected directions. 5. Potential to surpass current council capabilities. He paused, looking around the room. Humanity has met all 5 conditions. But they've done something else, something we've never seen before. They've met these conditions while still being a divided species. The screen showed Earth's nations, different but working together in ways that defied the Council's understanding. Competition and cooperation existed side by side, tracking progress faster than any unified species could achieve. At the Pentagon, General Harris received a report from his quantum detection team. Sir, we've mapped their entire observation network. Their ships, their satellites, even their dimensional sensors. We can see everything they're using to watch us. Harris smiled. How long until we can duplicate their technology? We already have, sir. Dr. Miller's team reversed their dimensional scanning 2 days ago. We've been watching them watch us. In orbit, aboard his observation ship, Dale received an alarming update from his sensors. The humans weren't just detecting their presence now. They were scanning their ships with technology that shouldn't have existed yet. Impossible, he whispered, checking the readings again. They're not just learning about our technology. They're improving it as they discover it. The council chamber erupted in motion as this information reached them. Tom quickly took the floor again. We've never seen anything like this, he said urgently. Most species, when they discover advanced technology, try to copy it exactly. Humans look at it and immediately start thinking of ways to make it better. High Counselor Ben stood, his decision made. The vote is clear. Humanity is officially classified as a God-level threat, but not for the reasons we expected. They are not a threat because of their weapons or their technology. They are a threat because they refuse to accept limitations. As if to prove his point, at that exact moment, Dr. Miller's team achieved something unprecedented. They didn't just create a stable wormhole, they created one more efficient than any the Council had ever developed. Success, Miller announced to his global team. And look at these readings. There's definitely something out there using similar technology, something that's been watching us for quite a while. The Council's worst fear had come true. Humanity hadn't just caught up to them in certain areas. They had already started to move ahead. The alarms in the council chamber wouldn't stop ringing. On every screen, new warnings flashed as humanity's actions became impossible to ignore. Assessment Leader Dale's voice was shaking as he delivered his emergency report. They're not just detecting us anymore, he said. They're actively scanning our ships. They've mapped our entire observation network. And, he paused, his face showing pure disbelief, they've started improving our own technology. High Counselor Ben gripped his chair tightly. Show us. The main screen displayed Dr. Miller's lab, where something extraordinary was happening. The human scientists weren't just creating wormholes now, they were creating a network of them, each more stable than the last. Their version of our technology requires 30% less energy than ours, Dale reported. They took our most advanced achievement and made it better in less than a month. On Earth, Miller's global team celebrated their latest success. Screens around his lab showed stable wormholes connecting labs in 5 different countries. Energy efficiency at 130% of theoretical maximum, announced Dr. Ivan from Russia. Quantum stability holding at perfect levels, reported Dr. Lee from South Korea. Miller looked at the readings with a smile. And our friends up there, are they still watching? Oh, they're watching, General Harris said, walking into the lab. And they're starting to realize what we've done. In orbit, Dale's crew detected something that should have been impossible. The humans weren't just using advanced technology. They were using technology that improved itself as it operated. Sir, Mark called out, his voice urgent. They're not following any known development pattern. They're creating new patterns as they go. The council chamber fell silent as this information appeared on their screens. What they were seeing defied everything they knew about technological advancement. It gets worse, Dale continued. Show them the military readings. The screens shifted to show Earth's defense systems. What they saw shocked them all. Humanity hadn't just prepared for alien contact. They had prepared for every possible type of alien contact. These humans, military advisor Jack said slowly, they've developed defenses against weapons we haven't invented yet. They're not just ready for us. They're ready for things we haven't even thought of. Back in his lab, Miller walked to a secure computer and typed in a special code. Screens around the world lit up with the same message. Operation Looking Glass is now active. In the Pentagon, General Harris smiled as he watched the alien ships react. They're finally figuring it out, he said to his staff. Show them what we can really do. Across Earth, hidden facilities powered up. Quantum sensors, gravity manipulators, and dimensional scanners, all reverse-engineered from glimpses of alien technology, came online at once. In the council chamber, the display showed something terrifying. The humans weren't just copying their technology anymore. They were combining different technologies in ways the council had never considered. This is unprecedented, High Counselor Ben announced. They're not following any known path of technological evolution. They're creating their own path. Sir, Dale's voice came through, more urgent than ever. The humans, they're sending us a message, on all frequencies, in all formats, using our own communication protocols. The message appeared on the main screen, simple but devastating in its implications. To the Council of Species, your observation has been noted. Your technology has been studied. Your intentions have been analyzed. We are prepared for any scenario you might choose. We suggest opening diplomatic channels. After all, we've given you time to prepare for this moment. Now it's your turn to catch up. The council members looked at each other in shock. They had been watching humanity, studying humanity, classifying humanity as a threat. But all along, humanity had been watching them back. And they had been ready all along. The Council of Species had never faced a situation like this in its million-year history. For the first time, they weren't deciding whether to make contact with a primitive species. Instead, a supposedly primitive species had forced their hand. High Counselor Ben stood before the emergency session, all 500 members waiting for his words. We have no choice, he announced. We must make official contact before they decide to do it for us. In that moment, screens across the council chamber lit up with a new transmission from Earth. Dr. Miller's face appeared, calm and smiling. Greetings, Council of Species, he said in perfect standard galactic language. We've been monitoring your debate. Perhaps we can save you some time. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Not only had humans intercepted their supposedly secure feed, but they had also mastered their universal language. On Earth, in a massive underground facility, General Harris watched multiple screens showing the alien council's reaction. They're finally getting it, he said to his staff. Show them the rest. Dr. Miller continued his transmission. We have prepared a complete diplomatic package. It includes our terms for peaceful contact, technological exchange protocols, and he paused for effect, Several improvements to your current technologies that we think you'll find interesting. Assessment Leader Dale, watching from his ship in orbit, couldn't believe what he was seeing. The humans weren't just matching their technology. They were offering to improve it. "Sir," Mark reported from his station, "they're transmitting data. It's the solution to our quantum decay problem. The one our scientists haven't solved in 300 years. In the council chamber, Science Director Ron reviewed the human transmission with shaking hands. "They solved it," he whispered. "They solved it in weeks, just by analyzing our energy signatures." High Counselor Ben raised his hands for silence. "Dr. Miller," he addressed the transmission, "you knew we were here all along." Miller nodded. "Since the first ship entered our solar system, we've been watching you watch us. It seemed polite to let you complete your assessment before making contact." In the Pentagon, General Harris pressed a button, and thousands of hidden facilities around Earth revealed themselves. Advanced technology, reverse-engineered and improved from alien designs, powered up across the planet. "We didn't just prepare for alien contact," Harris explained to the stunned council. "We prepared to be equals when it happened." The council members watched in amazement as humans demonstrated technology after technology. Some they had copied and improved, others they had invented on their own, following paths the council had never considered. "Your classification of us as a god-level threat was correct," Miller continued, "but not for the reasons you think. We're not a threat because we're powerful. We're a threat because we refuse to stop growing, learning, and improving." High Counselor Ben looked at the data before him. Humanity had taken different pieces of alien technology and combined them in new ways. They had solved problems from angles no other species had considered. They had prepared for every possible first contact scenario, including this one. "We offer you a choice," Miller said. "We can be allies, sharing knowledge and growing together. Or we can be competitors, each pushing the other to greater heights. Either way, humanity will continue to advance." The council voted quickly. The result was unanimous. "We choose alliance," Ben announced. Miller smiled. "We thought you might. We've already prepared the technology sharing protocols, and we have some ideas about improving your faster-than-light travel systems." As the formal first contact procedures began, Assessment Leader Dale made one final note in his report. "Species Assessment Final Update. Humanity classified as God-level entity, not due to current capabilities, but due to unlimited potential. They don't just reach for the stars. They improve them." The age of human isolation was over. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity was just getting started.